Hello, first grade artists. We are going to be doing a fall forest project today, and we are going to start off learning how to draw trees. Let's look at this tree here. You might see a letter in the branches. Right there, we see a Y. All these branches are made up of Ys. You might see a couple other letters in there with some swirly or squiggly branches, but today we're just going to be focusing on the Y letter. And this is going to be the base of all of our trees. Go ahead and grab your sketchbooks now, and we're going to open to the first blank page in our sketchbooks. And at the top of my page, I'm going to write Y trees. Go ahead and take a minute to copy this down. I'm going to go ahead and draw 2 more lines to split my page into 3. So you can see 1 and 2. And in the top of my first box, I'm going to go ahead and draw a bunch of little Ys, or baby Ys as I like to call them. Go ahead and draw a couple of these little baby Ys. These are going to be our tiniest branches on our tree. In the second one, we're going to draw some medium branches, medium Ys, or as I like to call them, our teenager Ys. Because they're not quite huge, but they're getting there. And in our last box, we are going to be drawing our big Ys, or our adult Ys. Go ahead and draw a couple of these. These are going to be the base of our trees. Go ahead and flip the page now. We're going to start and do a practice here. Now I'm going to start by drawing one of my adult Ys, my big Ys, right in the center. Just like that. Now I can go ahead and add some teenager Ys in that. You can see I've got a teenager Y coming off one of my branches. Gonna add another teenager Y here, and all of my branches are going to be pointing upwards at the sky. And that's because all of our trees love sunlight, so we want to make sure that all of our branches are reaching for the sky, reaching for the sun. Now I'm going to go in with my baby Ys, my tiny little Ys. These are going to add some detail to my tree. I'm not going to add a ton of them, but you can see these really make my tree look like there's a lot of little branches on them. Go ahead and do that now. Once I'm done with my baby Ys, I'm going to go ahead and add a horizon line. We talked about horizontal lines. These are lines that go side to side. I'm going to make mine a little curvy. Once I do that, I'm going to go in and actually thicken up the trunk. We don't want a little scrawny trunk on our tree. We want a nice, thick, sturdy trunk. So go ahead and thicken up that trunk. You can see I'm filling it in with my pencil. And I also might want to go ahead and fill in some of my branches as well, make them a little thicker. Awesome. Pause the video here to make sure everyone's on the same page. Now that we've all done our practice, we're going to go ahead to our final copy. You're going to get a yellow sheet of paper. Go ahead and write your name on the back of your yellow sheet of paper now in pencil. Once you've done that, go ahead and flip your paper over, and we're going to draw our horizon line. So this is our line going side to side. I'm going to draw this a little bit lower than the halfway point on my paper. Now I'm going to go ahead in with my big adult Y, and I want to make this nice and big in the center of my paper. Just like that. Awesome. And it's not touching the sides quite yet. Now I'm going to go in with my teenagers. I'm going to go ahead, draw a couple, and you're going to see that I'm making sure that all of my teenage Ys are going to hit the edge of my paper. You're going to see some shapes start to form as you make sure that your Ys hit the edge of your paper. So go ahead and do that now. Once I'm done with my teenage Ys, I can go in with some baby Ys. Now, I don't want to add a ton, and I don't want to make them teeny tiny. I just want to add a couple baby Ys, making sure that they go all the way out to the edge. You can see after this, I check to make sure all of my Ys are going to hit the edge of my paper, just like that. Awesome. Now, just like I did with my practice, I'm going to go ahead and add a trunk, a nice sturdy trunk, with my zigzag to kind of allude to roots coming out of the ground. I'm going to make my trunk nice and thick, really thicken those lines up with my pencil. And we want to make sure our branches are a little thicker too, so I'm just going to go over our bottom branches. No one likes climbing trees with little thin branches. Now that I'm done in pencil, I'm going to go ahead and grab our art markers. We use these on our snails, and we're going to use these on these fall forest projects too. I'm going to go ahead and outline everywhere that I drew my pencil. I'm going to go ahead going up and fill everything in. Once I fill in my trunk, I'm actually going to go ahead and outline all of my Ys. I'm going to use the thicker part of my marker. If you look at your marker, you're going to see that there's a nice flat thick part. There's a nice small skinny part. We really want to use that thick side to get some nice thick branches on our trees. Wow, that was fast. All right, now that I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and outline my horizon line with my marker. And that's the last step that we are going to go ahead and do today. So once you're done, put the cap back on your marker. Someone will be around to collect that. And to make sure that all of our papers stay nice and clean, we're going to go ahead and fold them right into our sketchbook. So go ahead and open your sketchbook, place your picture inside, and close your sketchbook. Great job today, artists. Hello, artists, and today we are going to be talking about our colors. So fall colors. What colors might we see in the fall? We're going to see some warm colors, so reds, maybe some oranges. I've got a darker red here, and yellow. Maybe some browns as well, and maybe a black as well. These are our warm colors. We're also going to be putting some patterns in all of the spaces, and I'm going to use those as inspiration. So I'm going to go ahead and start. We're going to use all of our warm colors to fill in these patterns. I'm going to start with a nice zigzag line. You don't have to copy me. So go ahead and put a pattern in. You can see I'm going to just start with my red. Then I'm going to go on to some orange. I'm going to grab my orange and add some polka dots. Very nice. So think about the patterns that we used in our last project and what kind of patterns that you can use in this project. You might want to add a bunch of really fun, crazy lines. I'm going to go ahead and put up the example of all of the patterns I had earlier up on the board so you can pause and all look at that again. Or you can come up with your own patterns. All of you are super creative artists, and I can't wait to see what you come up with. Go ahead and pause the video now for these patterns. Now that all of you have finished up, we're going to go ahead back in and add some more detail in our background. I'm going to start on my horizon line, and I'm going to add a couple more trees. So I'm going to start with maybe just some teenager trees because we don't want them as big as our main tree in the center. And I'm just going to do some teenagers and then some babies on that tree. And I'm going to come around and do a couple trees. And once I'm done with my trees, I'll take my marker and outline them in black as well. When I go in with my marker, I'm going to make my trunks a little bit thicker, just like that. And I might use the thinner side of my marker as well. Once I'm all done with that, I'm going to go ahead and take my pencil and I'm going to add some lines. Maybe we want our tree to be in a field. I'm actually going to curve my lines. You can see that line's actually going to go off the paper. I'm going to curve them. They're almost like C's. Then I'm going to go ahead and do a C in the opposite direction after I pass my center tree. This is going to make my lines kind of look like my trees, or my field is going to go back in space. And I can go in with my crayons, but I actually forget a step here. First, I need to go ahead and take my marker, and I'm going to go ahead and outline all of my lines. Just like that. And friends, I know these lines might be a little tough, so if you need any help, make sure that you raise your hand and someone will be around and make sure that you get some help. Now, while I'm coloring, I want to make sure I'm not scribbling. We don't want scribbles like that, do we? No. We also don't want scribbles like that either. We want to make sure that all of the spaces are covered, all of the yellow is completely covered by our crayon. You're going to go over, make sure you do a really nice job, first grade artists. I know all of you have awesome artistic skills and we are all going to make our best work today. So go ahead and fill these in, color them in with all of your nice fall colors. And friends, there you have it, our fall forest. I had an awesome time making this and I hope all of you enjoyed, and I can't wait to see the results when I get back.